Yo, what's good, world? So, the topic of this video is going to be never forget why we started. There's a lot of times when we get to a point where we may be succeeding or stagnating, that we self-reflect and we wonder, why are we doing the things that we are doing? And when we go back to when we started mentally, everything will click. We will understand that we have to check ourselves so we don't wreck ourselves. So what I'm saying is, there's a lot of times where we just get lost in the sauce. We get so into all these ideologies, all these systems of thinking, and just things that we try to attach our ego to, that we get lost into doing things that we didn't even intend to doing from the start. It's like when we lift the weights, we attach ourselves to all these theories, not realizing that everything is like the economy. It has to build up and then it's just going to destroy itself just to build itself back up. And the reason why we question a lot of things is we like the ups, but we don't embrace the chaos to overcome when we go down. It's like social media. The whole point of social media is not the intentions of it is now. Now is just a dopamine effect. How can I get my dopamine up? And then once we follow and doom scroll and look at the brain rot content, it puts us in a down state of dopamine. And we just keep on chasing, keep on scrolling. And it's the same thing with lifting weights. We get to a point where we're making so much progress that we don't take the time to self-reflect and to realize that along the way we created bad habits. We created habits that became self-sabotage down the road. That's why I like to look at sports, the top teams where the coaches, even though they're winning, the coaches will always tell them, do your job, focus, because the ego likes to attach to the past, yesterday's scores. Just because a boxer dominated his last fights doesn't mean he's going to dominate when it comes time this week. There's a lot of guys who, in boxing, they overestimated their opponent because they was focused on what they done in the past, thinking that's supposed to intimidate them, thinking that they already won just by showing up. When we let down our guard, that's when everything opens up. Our vulnerabilities open up. When a boxer let down his guard, that's when he's going to get hit. But when we stay focused, we trust the process and never stop enjoying the process, we will always figure out a solution for why we are stagnating and why we are constantly making progress. Because if we don't know the steps of why we're making progress, it's time to self-reflect. Unless you have a coach who knows what he's doing, it's all in his hands. But if you don't have a coach, we should know, okay, step by step, while we're making progress here, step by step while we're not making progress here. There's a lot of times we get satisfied, we get happy with barely or grinding out the weight or whatever we're doing when we barely won. But that's the time when we need to self-reflect and understand that we can't be satisfied with mediocrity and being average. If a weight doesn't look explosive, like if you put in all this work and it doesn't look easy, it's time to take a step back and realize that the proof is in the pudding. When we don't have standards and we don't have boundaries, that's when a lot of things just creep in that we really don't need. But when we take the time to understand, okay, this is our standards and this is our boundaries, we will understand like we can't be, we can accept mediocrity. We can't accept being average. So it's a lot of times we just got to take the time to take, when I lift weights, a lot of times I take weeks off. I take a week off and I want to understand, why am I making progress? Why am I stagnating? Where's my weak points? And then the proof is in the pudding. It's right there in plain sight. But when we get too lost into lifting all these numbers, we get to lose who we are. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's be great. Let's stay motivated.